What's up, guys? Theo here, coming to you with a prediction for Michael Venom Page versus Kevin Holland. So right now, Kevin Holland is a minus 140 favorite, and the comeback on MVP is plus 115 on DraftKings. And guys, I kind of like MVP here. My gut when this fight first was announced was I was like, okay, Kevin Holland is going to destroy him. Just because, honestly, I'd never been super big on MVP. Was very well aware of him for years now. Have seen all of his fights, watched his fights live with Douglas Lima and whatnot. So he's not unknown to me. I was completely aware of who he is and what he's capable of. I've seen everything he's done, and I kind of always felt like there was something weird about his fights. I felt like maybe they were set up, or that they were purposefully scheduled against opponents that had pre-existing injuries or something like that. I just always found something very fishy about his fights. I felt like, he's fighting bottom of the barrel fighters, etc. He would get destroyed in the UFC and whatnot. But there's a couple things that have kind of reversed my decision on that and made me want to pick MVP here. And I'll start out by saying that we have seen a stylistic matchup similar to this with Kevin Holland in Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Now, I'm not saying that MVP is the same level kickboxer as Stephen Thompson. It's really hard to compare them. Stephen Thompson obviously has a much better pedigree. He was like 50-0 as a kickboxer or something, and he's done very well in the UFC at a high level for a long time. MVP really has not. He's been fighting extremely low-level competition in Bellator. And that being said, Stephen Thompson really outclassed Kevin Holland in that fight. And Kevin Holland did a couple things in there that were maybe some of the lowest fight IQ things I've ever seen in my life. For example, he takes Stephen Wonderboy down in like the second or third round or something like that with a very well-timed takedown, immediately gets right on top of him. Kevin Holland is known for his jiu-jitsu. He trains at Travis Lutter BJJ. He's a student of Travis Lutter, and Travis Lutter has said that he has the most latent potential of any grappler that he has trained. And Travis Lutter also trained George St. Pierre, and Travis Lutter has claimed that Kevin Holland has more potential on the ground than GSP and more natural ability, but obviously GSP is the harder worker. So I'm not comparing Kevin Holland to GSP, but I'm saying that this guy is a credentialed jiu-jitsu guy training under a good jiu-jitsu coach. He takes Stephen Wonderboy down after having the shit beat out of him on the feet for 2 rounds, or at least 1 round. And Kevin Holland gets off of him and lets him right back up to his feet. So why would you do that? Because Kevin Holland is just that type of guy. He doesn't want to fight fights to win. He doesn't really have takedown defense. He doesn't really have great wrestling. Yes, he has a TKO off his back against Jacare Souza. But, he took that win because he wanted to show that he could beat Jacare on the ground, right? He let Stephen Wonderboy up because he wanted to show that he could stand with Stephen Wonderboy. And he does what he thinks to, create a good fight. He cares more about having fun fights and just having wars than he does about winning the belt or climbing ranks. He said that openly before. He doesn't really care about that stuff. And that's not really good, man. It's not good when you have the ability to take somebody down and you let them back to their feet and then they beat you standing. MVP fights a lot like Stephen Thompson. And the thing about MVP is that we don't know if he's really UFC level, but what we have seen is we've seen him go a couple rounds with Mike Perry in BKFC. And if he can take shots from Mike Perry and not get knocked out, I have a hard time seeing Kevin Holland knocking him out. Because Kevin Holland is not really known for having crazy knockout power. Yes, he does have a couple really slick knockouts, but he's not throwing bombs like Mike Perry is. He's got like a good frame and he's able to generate a lot of power with leverage, but he doesn't have a ton of raw power. So I have a hard time seeing him knock MVP out. I'm not saying that's not a possibility because MVP has been knocked out by Douglas Lima, but the movement and whatnot, I just don't really see it happening. And I think that MVP has slightly slicker moves on the feet takes advantage of his range a little bit better. And MVP is a guy that seems to really relish in the game. You know, he seems to like being in the spotlight. And Kevin Holland has been looking a little bit worn and a little bit just out of it lately, man. So all those things being said, also the fact that the UFC is pushing Kevin Holland, or not Kevin Holland, they're pushing MVP unusually hard here. They're pushing him a lot harder than they normally do with other guys, even guys like Michael Chandler who came in from Bellator. Michael Chandler's the only one who's even gotten close to this level of push. So obviously the UFC brass, they see something in MVP and they really think that he can win this. And I just have a feeling that they want MVP to win here. And I feel like Kevin Holland's not going to take advantage of the ground game where he is going to have an advantage. He probably could sub MVP, but Holland's not going to do that. If he takes him down, he's going to let him right back up just like he did. This is the exact type of fight where, you know, the fans are going to be they're going to want to see crazy striking. They're going to want to see cool stuff. Kevin Holland's not the type of dude that's just going to take him down and sub him and make it a boring fight. If he did that, if I could rely on him to do that, maybe I would pick him here. But at plus money, I've just got a weird feeling in my gut that MVP is going to do something here after watching all this tape back and just seeing that Kevin Holland just does not do what you want him to do in a fight. He's going to play MVP's game exactly. And, you know, with the UFC obviously wanting MVP to get a win here so that they can run his highlight reel over and over and over again, just something's telling me in my gut that MVP is going to win this. And that's coming from someone who initially was going to pick Kevin Holland. So give me MVP here at plus 115, guys. Obviously, I do kind of have a hard time seeing 3 underdogs in a row on a main card hit. We already saw that not too many cards ago, and that is usually like a 1 out of 15 card type deal. So me picking 3 underdogs in a row on a main card here, are all of these underdogs going to hit? Statistically, probably not. I'm not sure which one of them is going to go through. I have a low level of confidence on MVP, and it's just kind of a gut feeling, so I would not bet him here. I would not even put 0.25 units on him unless someone that I really trusted was going to talk me into the other direction or something like that. But yeah, I'm going to go with MVP here. Keep it locked in. More picks coming later this week.